So when you think of the Sahara, what comes to mind? Probably just endless sand, right? Well, what if I told you its real story is way more complex and honestly pretty surprising? It's all hidden just beneath the surface.
That's a real quote. Two astronauts, James McDivitt and Edward White, are just floating up there in space. They look down and see this thing, a structure so huge, so perfect, you could only really grasp what it was from orbit. It was literally a giant eye staring back at them from the middle of the desert, pupil and all. Can you even imagine?
Okay, to really get a handle on the scale here, this thing, which we now call the reshot structure, or the Eye of the Sahara, is just massive. We're talking about an area big enough to swallow 30 cities the size of Mumbai. 30! It's just an absolutely mind-boggling feature on our planet's surface.
So what is it? I mean, the first thing that probably jumps to your mind is a giant asteroid impact, right? Makes sense. But here's the twist. Scientists have looked, and there is absolutely zero evidence of one. They can't find any shocked quartz. That's a special fractured rock that's like a smoking gun for an impact, or any other space rock debris. So the simple explanation is out, which leaves its origin as this really tantalizing geological puzzle. Okay, but this is where things get really interesting. Let's step away from geology for a second and look at ancient legends. You've heard of Atlantis, right? The famous lost city? Well, the philosopher Plato described it as being made of these perfect concentric rings of land and water. And when you look at the Eye of the Sahara, I mean, the similarities are just uncanny. It's got a lot of people wondering if there's a connection.
And it's not just the shape. The theory gets even crazier when you look at old maps. This one, it's based on the writings of the Greek historian Herodotus from like 2,500 years ago. And get this, his descriptions place a city he calls Atlantis right there on the western coast of Africa, exactly where the Eye of the Sahara is today.
And it wasn't just him. It's not a one-off. A few hundred years later, a Roman geographer, Pomponius Mela, also drew a map with a city named Atlantia in the exact same spot. I mean, come on, two different ancient sources pointing to the same place. That's a pretty compelling coincidence, and it's why this debate is still very much alive.
But, for all the cool maps and theories, archaeologists just haven't found the smoking gun. There's no definitive proof of a city right there. And that leads us to a much bigger and maybe even more profound question. What if we're focused on the wrong thing? What if the real lost world isn't a single city, but the entire desert around it?
And that question, right there, is the key to this whole thing. Because the Sahara we picture today, this 9 million square kilometer wasteland of sand and rock, it wasn't always like this. Not even close. It was once completely unrecognizable. It wasn't a desert at all.
And this didn't happen overnight. We're talking about a transformation that took millions of years. It started out as a vast ocean. That's where all the limestone and sandstone came from. Then, during the last ice age, the climate did a complete 180, and this whole area became a cool, wet, lush paradise. It wasn't until about 6,000 years ago that it started to dry out and become the desert we know today.
Just try to picture this for a second. For thousands of years, the Sahara was one of the most fertile places on the entire planet. Not a desert, but a land of huge meadows, massive rivers, and lakes so big they would make our Great Lakes look like ponds. It was teeming with wildlife, and ancient humans flocked there because, hey, most of the rest of the world was frozen solid during the Ice Age. Okay, so the big question is, if this green Sahara was real, where's the proof? Where's all the evidence? Well, it turns out it's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. You just have to know where to look. And these clues, these echoes of the past, they're everywhere. The Nile River itself is a leftover from that wetter time. It was so massive that the ancient Egyptians couldn't even figure out where it started. We find ancient rock paintings of cattle, and cattle need grass to eat, right? There's even a small group of crocodiles still living there, trapped in a remote oasis for thousands of years. And get this, one of the gems in King Tut's necklace is made from a special glass that only forms when a meteorite hits wet sand, all pointing to a very different past. And this all leads to one of the most mind-blowing connections on our entire planet. You think of the Sahara as this barren, lifeless place, right? But what if I told you it's actually the lifeline for the Amazon, the biggest rainforest in the world?
Yeah, you heard that right. Every single year, millions of tons of Saharan dust get swept up by the wind and travel an insane distance, 4,000 kilometers, all the way across the Atlantic Ocean.
Think of it like a global fertilizer delivery service. This dust is packed with phosphorus, which is a super important nutrient for plants.
The heavy rains in the Amazon wash all the phosphorus out of the soil. So this dust from Africa literally rains down and replenishes it. Without that Saharan dust, the Amazon soil would be totally depleted and the whole rainforest would be in serious trouble.
So yeah, it's pretty clear the Sahara is not what we think it is. So let's just quickly bust some of the biggest myths people have about this incredible place.
All right, myth number 1. It's all sand. Nope, not even close. Those classic rolling sand dunes you see in movies? That's only about 25% of the Sahara. The other 75%? It's all rugged mountains and huge rocky plains.
Okay, next myth. It's the biggest desert in the world. Wrong again. The biggest deserts on Earth are actually the cold ones. We're talking Antarctica and the Arctic. The Sahara is the world's largest hot desert, which, hey, is still pretty impressive. And this place is just a land of crazy extremes. Some of those sand dunes are as tall as skyscrapers, like 180 meters high. It's got huge mountains with the tallest peak soaring over 3,400 meters. And, believe it or not, it snows. Seriously, in some of the higher spots, the temperature can drop to -6 degrees Celsius.
So, when you understand the Sahara's past, how dynamic it is, it really makes you think about its future. This isn't some static, unchanging place. It's been an ocean, a green paradise, and now a desert. As our own climate keeps changing, you have to wonder, what's its next chapter? What will it become next?